Good morning, YouTube. I'd like to spend this morning talking a little bit about eating disorder recovery. Um, I have, well, had um, I bordered the line between bulimia and anorexia, depending on weight, which is a silly classification. I was binge purge type anorexic or low weight bulimic. I'm not sure, I haven't looked at the DSM recently, if they've updated how they classify the hairline distinction between these two things, but what I did and what I used to be is not really the point. It's just more for clarification for anyone that might watch this and wonder how they could relate. I kind of span the spectrum over the years, a little bit of everything. I even did straight binging with no eating at one, or with no purging at one point, and just compulsively ate. So I can relate, and you can relate to me. When I first started to recover, and granted, I'm only a few months in, it's a long road, you have to realize that your eating disorder is impulse driven, not logically driven. It's ego reinforced, and it's based on rules that don't exist. There are no rules in life except for the ones that you create. And ultimately, what benefits you instantly in mood modification, in pleasure, in feelings of pride and power, goal setting and reaching, filling up time and space that you may have emptiness inside of you or inside your life, working through your problems. All of those things that you think you're achieving are illusionary and delusionary. This thing is no better than an addiction. It is just as destructive to your life as an addiction. And eventually, like something with OCD, you start these things innocently enough, and you reap these positive rewards. People compliment, oh, you've lost a few pounds, and you get good feedback, and you feel good because you've set a goal and you reached it. Or if you're reaching for a cupcake because you feel bad, you feel better. These things don't start out, no one starts out thinking they're going to want an eating disorder or thinking they're going to get an eating disorder. But it gets a hold of you. Like OCD, it begins to take up more and more and more of your time. And like OCD, you develop these rituals and rules that don't exist, and they are in fact irrelevant, and many of them are erroneous. You think it's benefiting you, but you are ill, and you really don't know the truth about what benefits you. And eventually it becomes you, and you forget where you started and these rules ended. And you get a higher and higher pleasure threshold in your brain due to dopamine and many other factors I'm not going to get into, and nothing else, just like an addiction. Nothing else provides you pleasure but sitting with your illness. And like an addiction, over time it takes over your personality, it takes over your friendships, it takes over your goals, and it becomes the only thing in your life. And you become a slave to it. You have to. You feel as though you have to. That's the point at which you're starting to get sick. The earlier you stop, the earlier you seek help, the better likelihood of your recovery. But I've had an eating disorder for years and years and years. And like I said, I went around and around and tried everything. I thought I tried everything. You undo this thing the same way you began it. Little by little. You start to want different things in your life. And, excuse me, you start to want different things in your life. That's the first crack. Because there's no room for different things. Same with recovering from an addiction. You're not going to stop until you're ready to stop. You truly want something else in your life. It's got to come from inside. It's not going to come from anywhere else. So your mindset begins to change before anything else begins to change. And I hope, if you're even still listening to this, that your mindset is a little kernel of change. So what do? Well, you undo it the same way you started it, little by little. It's like unknotting a tangle full of necklaces or strings that are a pain in the ass to undo. You have free will. You had a life before this. You can have a life after this. And I promise you, it won't all fall apart. You won't explode. You won't all of your deepest, darkest fears and all of your deepest, darkest rewards from this, you don't lose them. You maintain the rewards from healthy avenues. Your body doesn't give out. In fact, if you continue, your body will give out, and you will eventually you'll die from your illness. That's not a joke. It's a fact. At minimum, your life will die from your illness. You will have no life outside of your illness. But this thing becomes you with rules. So you submit to your eating disorder impulse if you binge or just binge and purge for emotional release, or if you follow rules for restriction or anorexia. These are imaginary things. Everybody has different rules because we've made them up. These are not rules of nutrition and how the body works. We really don't know anything. You really don't know what you think you know, and you really don't look how you think you look, and your life is not working the way that you think that it is working. You won't lose the benefits, you'll gain the benefits, plus you'll gain a life. You won't lose your body, you'll gain your body back. We want to feel in control, and we are controlled by our illnesses. Eventually, you think you're in control, you're not speaking, your illness is speaking, and it directs everything. So find a foothold. Any little rule that you can break it. Do it. Any tiny little thing. If you have a set walking path and a set number of minutes and a set number, take a little detour and don't count it. Don't count one meal. Have one thing, even if it's just one nut, that is on the no-go list, and watch nothing happen. Nothing bad will happen. And the more that you do this, that you exert your own control over what the eating disorder is telling you, the minute that you wait, if you binge, wait. Give yourself 5 minutes and make a decision. I will have this, that, or the other thing. Pick one. And then have that thing and call it good. The fact that you made a decision before you made a binge will be empowering. As time goes on, slow the time of the binges. And they don't become binges, they become overeating. There's many more tips and tricks in all of these different directions, but the primary thing is the first thing you do is decide you want all the benefits from your eating disorder and none of the consequences. And you recognize that this is an illusion, it doesn't exist, just like somebody with OCD. It is an addiction, just like any other drug. And it is destroying your life. And you can have all the payoffs. You can have all the control, because the more that you exert your control over your illness, that is a real sense of superiority, mastering yourself, and gaining control. You can't fly any higher than that. And when you start controlling this and controlling that, and you add other things into your life that are positive and powerful and helpful, activities, friends, all those things that bring you joy, and you start mastering areas that you lost a long time ago, you really feel powerful and in control. When you're in control of your life, and especially when you start being in control of the illness, you really feel like you're gaining mastery in something, and you really feel a strong, genuine sense of control. And I promise you it's worth it. I promise you, and I've barely begun. There's still so much ahead of me that I can't even perceive. And yes, I've had some changes, but just the little bit that I've gained in my life, my headspace, my sense of pride, self-esteem, control, the room, all the payoffs, the waste of time and energy, all the payoffs that I've gained suddenly, and it's only been a few months, it's worth the minor ebbs and flows of my body as it adjusts. And it's been months. There's barely a rule that I haven't broken, and the change is really not that dramatic. I won't get into specifics of the change, but I mean, you've been watching my videos, you can scroll back. It's not really, I mean, look at that. That's my waist. I got a little guy going on. But in a way, I kind of love that, as much as I dislike it, because I know these things are alterable in the long run, and every ounce of that is because I love myself. And again, as I said in the previous video, all the drama and trauma that you've done to yourself and your body has held up thus far, a little bit of that is not going to be anything you can't undo. And you spend so much time attacking yourself and focusing on body and body on body on body, at war with your body. We are our body. We are not a floaty headspace stuck inside a flesh cage. That's not how the world is. We are one entity. It is a part of you. It is not your enemy. Big or small, anywhere in between. It is you. It is the vehicle that allows you to do everything that you do. You are one with your body. Appreciate it, love it, talk to it kindly. This is a really long video, and I kind of went off track with the point. I was going to tell you where I was at so far. Instead, I got talking about starting, beginning, all the different aspects of beginning. And I think there's so much room in this topic that I will just kind of stick to it with where it is, that it's been worth it, and it will only get better and better. Please begin. The tiniest thing. If you eat at a set schedule, eat outside that schedule. If you go to binge, give yourself 5 minutes before. Have one thing, do one thing differently. Wait 20 minutes if you're on a binge and you had your binge, it was too late, you didn't pause before because it's all driven on impulse. Wait 20 minutes before you go for seconds. This is excellent for all eating disorder recovery, because when your eating disorder kicks away or kicks up, depending where you're at, your appetite doesn't know what to do, because we've been maltreating our intake for so long that you attempt to intuitively eat right away. It's not going to work for you. We don't know how to read our own body. We've spent our lifetime, however long we've been in our illness, ignoring and eating along our mental decisions and emotional decisions. You don't understand your body cues even if you think you do. So your eating will be weird, and you're trying to get a grip on it. So eating according to a schedule is good. You know, this time of day I will put this in me, not according to calories, not according to what it's made of, just a regular schedule time of small insertion of food, X, Y, Z. And you like doing things on routine and ritual anyway, so that shouldn't be too hard. That can also be your change. You can have an almond or one extra baby carrot at said time, and watch the world not explode. Watch your body not explode. Or if you're a binger, said time, you eat tiny amount. That'll make you less hungry at the end of the day, or the time you particularly binge. And set 20 minutes before you go for a second helping, after you've hopefully eventually made your decision on, I will binge on this thing. I will sit down to this one thing, not everything. One thing. And if you can't make it that far, catch yourself in the binge. Catch yourself and stop yourself. That's power exertion of self. And wait. Wait 20 minutes before you go for a second helping, because it shortens the binge. Also, it takes 20 minutes, because once we're full, our food has to go all the way down through our intestine, which takes a complete 20 minutes before the signal then has to go through the bloodstream and back up to the brain to signal that we are full or too full. So the rapidity with which a binge occurs, there is no time for even digestion mostly, let alone that signal. So promise yourself that you will stop. As soon as you have cognition to realize what you're doing, you will stop what you are doing. Walk away for 20 minutes and then come back and see if you still feel the need to eat again. And repeat every serving. Repeat 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Do anything for 20 minutes. 15 minutes. 5, 10, 15, if we're going to go way back, is surf the urge. That's riding the wave of impulsive decisions. And because that 20-minute window of digestion, it also passes the impulse urge window. And so if you can avoid a behavior or another round by waiting 20 minutes, and as you are beginning to eat again, if you're afraid your eating is just going to, and you're going to explode and you're not going to be able to stop, that's erroneous. That's part of the illness. That's not you. And over time you will differentiate that, and our bodies are not physiologically made that way. You will learn to trust yourself. And you can also help prevent that fear and support yourself in moving forward by waiting 20 minutes before that second helping to see whether you're really full, and begin to tune into your body and give yourself affirmations. Love your body. It's the only thing that keeps us grounded to the earth. If you like to be on earth, see, look at that, couple months. Couple months. Not terrible. And I have eaten so many things. And I am better for it. All these decisions that I have broken, all these things that are me. Me in my heart, me in my head, me and my body. For my body, for the totality of my being. And against my eating disorder. Every time I used to be best friends with my eating disorder. Now I realize that the negatives outweigh the positives, and all the positives that there are in life, you still receive, but you get a life too. So pick one spot, one tiny thing that you think, maybe something in this video sparked something for you. Pick one spot where you can exert yourself, your legitimate self, and self-love, and your own willpower against the illness. And you begin to realize, you uncover, just like uncovering a disease of addiction, you begin to uncover what this evil little troll is really all about. And you begin to dislike it when you realize the deceptions that it's been giving you, and that you can have all you ever dreamed, including yourself, your life, your body, your health. Just as you imagine it to be, you can have those things in a healthy, normal way. You can have freedom. So please, if you're willing, if after 20 minutes you've stuck with me on this, seriously, I just realized how long I've rambled. If after 20 minutes you're still sticking with me and you're watching this video, that means you're ready. So pick one thing, even if it's just one carrot, even if it's just, I'm going to binge on one item instead of 12. One thing. I'm going to take a detour for a block just to look at the flowers instead of, even if just to enjoy a walk. Anything. Pick one thing today, please. And do one thing against your illness. Break one rule. Pause. And see how you feel. Especially when nothing but good comes of it. You'll get addicted to that. And that's okay to get addicted to. Unity with the self. Becoming healthy. Becoming stable. That's something to be proud of. And your body will thank you. Your life will thank you. Your family and friends will thank you. And your body will get better and better and better. There's nothing but better waiting for you. Bye, you too. And especially goodbye. And I look forward to maybe hearing from or continuing conversations with those who can relate. Love you guys. Oh, I can't get out my guns. Bye.